Well, what's happening, guys? I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. We have another Sunday video coming at you, this time for the 29th of January. So it'll be the last Sunday video for January. That went pretty quick. I feel like we were just talking about the new year, and all of a sudden we're already done 1 month of the year. Last week, obviously, Emil took over for Sunday video. First one I've missed, but I was coming off of COVID, and then I got flu, and then on top of that, I got strep at the same time. So that was not fun. I don't recommend it. However, once I got on antibiotics, everything shifted pretty quick. But energy has not returned. But I just got to force through that and get there. So I put a couple winners for t-shirts. So I appreciate you guys still leaving key takeaways or comments or whatever it may be. In the comment section. As you guys know, all you have to do is leave a key takeaway in the comment section and like the video, and we will send out t-shirts, free IU, Icon Meals, scans. We haven't done those in a while, so we'll get back to doing that next week. Video topics for today: Traders for a Cause, Los Angeles. I heard it was a huge success. I know that we sold out of the tickets extremely quickly. Seems to be the case. People are absolutely loving these meetups. And one of the best parts about, I would say, the Las Vegas event is we probably had 50%. It was our biggest one last year, but 50% new folks that had gone to some of these regional events. So I thought that was great, and we have an interview coming soon with Tanner, which he was just somebody that went to Las Vegas and kind of put himself out there. It was sort of a goal of his. Then went to this meetup, but he's been talking a lot about how important that networking has been in his career, and he's doing workouts with Lance and different things like that, but. The cool part about that is he looks up to Lance, right, for, maybe stock and different kind of investing sort of advice. And then Lance gets to work out with him, who looks up to him potentially for, the workout advice. So it's awesome to be able to scratch each other's back and help out, different people in areas that you are super successful at. But either way, we'll have some nice, or at least maybe they're already going on, depending on when Damien puts them, but some images, some photos from the LA meetup. So next topic is we put a really awesome discount. Everybody always asks about monthlies, just to kind of get in there. As you guys know, we usually do not discount those. We usually just do it for the annuals. But we're giving it a shot. And so there is a great discount. There is a link in there. You guys are going to be able to get to see the scanners and all of those things that we've been working on. Those are included. So eventually, once we launch, we've done all these scanners and we're building out more. We're going to have a whole filing system. You guys know that we have news, AI news as well, which came in real handy this week on a lot of the offerings. It is very, very quick. But it's good to kind of see that kind of stuff in action. But I want you guys to be able to play with it and see how it works. And at any rate, they'll be added on later on, but we're including it for everybody that is part of IU right now. I haven't mentioned in a while, Centerpoint, there is still 100% free until the end of March. So you still have 2 months, right? So I know that it's not the end of the year. I know that you're not starting January 1st, but there is still 2 free full months of free trading, right? So one of the best things that they've done recently too, beyond the prices which have been staying extremely well on borrow costs and things like that, compared to others where usually they get jacked up. One of the other benefits is some of these low price names that have been going nuts. You know how fast commissions can add up, right? And it's one thing, you could use a big box broker, which is completely free, and do the long side, but there's so much downside potential on these, right? And you have stocks that are running up to 50 on maybe 20% of the volume, and then the other 80% is just straight sell all the way back down, 50, 60, 70% drops. And if you don't have a broker that allows you to borrow those, number one, you miss that trade, but number two, if you have to pay those commissions, it adds up, especially if you want to kind of go in and out a few times, right? But they've got multiple free routes now, which has been a game changer, and it saves thousands and thousands per day, especially if you're trading, even a couple 100,000 shares of these 20, 30, 40 cent names in and out, in and out, in and out a few times, really starts to add up. But now it does not because of the free route. So make sure you guys check that out. And again, we'll have the link in the description as always. But like I said, there is still 2 months left of completely free trading. So take advantage of that. Trading Takes podcast. We just did the third one. We have a fourth one coming on Thursday. At some point, we'll go live. This was Sam's doing a phenomenal job. He's a natural, and just directing the conversation and including everybody, and coming back for more. It's been fantastic, and obviously Chris and Judah add some great value. Chris is the articulate kind of guy that is just so good at explaining some of these setups. You've seen the liquidity trap video, you've seen the failed follow through video that we just put out, and then Judah is a lot different than all of us. Obviously, he's really good at news and knowing what news might matter, but he's also coming from more of a macro perspective. And a lot of you guys, are used to these small caps and all this more micro kind of reactive trades and things like that. But he's coming from more of a bigger picture perspective, which even to me it's helpful, just because when he's saying a particular level and I'm short, it's a great trade, but it's a good reminder, like, hey, this is coming into some sort of macro level that maybe I should pay attention to. And whether or not that's his intent, it's probably not. He's just putting out good information. And when you can absorb that and, maybe not necessarily have it impact your decision making, but at least, recheck in. Make sure, like, all right, yes, I'm on the right side of the trade. Yes, it's working well. Do I want to let this continue to work just because I'm on the right side? Or, yeah, that is true. That is a good support point. And there's a good chance that it might kind of consolidate and have some congestion around this area, and probably I should change the size that I'm in. So anyway, that's been fantastic, and new guests each week. We've got a good guest this week coming, as well as maybe 2 or 3 more lined up that I think you guys will like. I wanted to get into PCSA and some of the tricks that they do prior to raising, and then more of the macro setups. I've been just kind of dialing in on these macro setups over and over and over again. So we obviously have been talking about this Mara, Riot, and CLSK trade. It's been setting up for quite some time, right? And that thing came and went. It was a sell the news type of event right into the Bitcoin spot, the ETF launch and all that kind of stuff. And actually, on the first video of the Trading Takes, my thought was it was going to be a sell the news, and then over the next 2 to 3 weeks, it was going to like kind of absorb, and then just kind of head back up towards where it was. So we'll see if that works. So far, it has done that. It kind of flushed out everybody. We kind of came out in the 47, 48,000 range. Almost got up to 50,000, and then flushed everybody under that 40,000, which is another psychological kind of point. I figured maybe a 38, a flush towards 38,000, and then come back up. And so far, that's what's been working extremely well. So they need to kind of do that one last flush to make everybody that's been on the fence, that's like, all right, listen, if it pulls back one more time, I'll exit. And as soon as it breaks that 40, the first time it comes down to like 40,300, if I remember correctly, and then bounced, and then it came back down to 40, and I think it's just going to trigger all those people that are price sensitive out, and then once that's cleaned back up, it's good to go. So anyway, that was a macro, big picture kind of where I want to focus that I've been talking about in 2024. I said that there was going to be a huge, huge, huge opportunity. So then, what else have we had? We've had semiconductors, which obviously you have SMCI, but NVIDIA's been leading the charge, and now you've got AMD catching up in a big way. AMD was always kind of there, but not really, moving like crazy. And then all of a sudden, the afterburners just took off recently, so that's been huge. We had the Trump names, DWAC, DWAC, and PHUN. PHUN, that was a really, really good read. The problem is you got to be okay with, a race, right? And once there's two raises that come, sure, maybe they slam down another one, but, at some point people didn't care. The momentum was just too strong, and, it took off with DWAC. So as long as DWAC was going, fun was going to go. That second time that they raised, it was obvious right away that things were not staying heavy. And you saw, I said, forget it. It's not worth looking or being short when the momentum is just too strong. So then flash forward to Davey Stool, Barstool Sports Guy, and we've got Save, which he came in right after a headline that says basically that we're gonna search for bankruptcy or whatever, do the whole explore alternatives or whatever the key word is, and then it ended up coming all the way back, right? So everybody always shorts those bankruptcy type headlines and things like that. They ended up getting banged out in a big way, and it was 4 to 8. Nice blowout move. 850s was sort of that level in the morning. I wanted to come back to the prior level of resistance. It went to 852. So my goal was 850 push and then unwind. And it went to 852 and then went down all the rest of the day. So that was fantastic. I took the trade that day. Somebody like Eric, fantastic patience, and got that nice flush out on Friday. And then right after that, we also had Rumble. Now, it's just impressive to me how Dave can insert himself into the headlines. He's obviously always done it. That's how he's made $500 million on, selling his company and then buying it back. But he is just so good that the safe kind of action brought so many more eyes to Barstool and him and stocks that when the headline came out on Rumble, would it have done that had he not traded saved in the prior days? Probably not, right? But everybody is like, oh, Dave said save, it just doubled. And then they're like, oh, boom. And everybody just jumps on the bandwagon and goes for it. Now save obviously has come back. There's a good chance that Rum does at some point as well, but it just depends. If they start to finally get some traction, obviously they have not gotten much traction when they have like Andrew Tate and Nelk Boys and all those ones that are promoting it. Nobody's really cared. This is the first time that it's actually held a pretty good trend after some sort of news like this. So we'll see how that goes. But I think that's about it for everything that has happened since we last chatted, and I will get into the week ahead. So, my internet's been terrible, so we'll see how long this lasts. But, the first and foremost, I think I did want to talk about this PCSA, and PCSA had a great long opportunity, and we talked about this where it just was soaking, and it was not going away. And you can kind of see this 320 level over here, and then you can see it again over here in the 380s. And the 380 level is where I got involved, 370s, 380s, 390s. And it basically was coming into that VWAP level, soaking, and then obviously shot up. Everybody knew this thing needed to raise, right? And we've talked about this crowd. And if you look at Delusion Tracker, which is fantastic, but it gives everybody information like that, right? Before you had to work for it. So everybody comes onto the same page right away. And when all of that information is out there, if it is not breaking down, it's not staying heavy, they're soaking the trend, there's a good chance that if it goes the other way, it's going to go the other way very, very fast. So we had that. We had a nice little blow-off move. We had the squeeze after hours because everybody knows that they're going to raise. We had the next morning, we had another push, and that was obviously the spot you saw. I got short for the failed follow-through momentum, but fantastic opportunity. Yes, we know it's going to raise. That does not mean it's going to happen on your timetable. And obviously all of these people got, squeezed out because they were kind of forcing it to happen, but it didn't on their timetable. So they get pushed out, and then, obviously it ends up coming, and, they kind of created this volume, created this liquidity, and in my opinion, we end up just kind of fading all the way back down to where it came from. And with that same kind of thought process was the same thought process on this CRBP, where when you look at it, it might not look super thin. It looks like more of a thick biotech name that we're used to, that we've seen a lot of lately, and you kind of, just look at the volume, look how it's trading, and you don't really think too much about, oh, it's only like 4 million volume. 4 million float. And then when the volume starts to churn, it goes 4 to 8 to 12, things start to get a little out of hand. So anyway, you can see the same thing, and we were talking about this in the room, and I had mentioned this 17 area right over here. So the only failed follow through was 1620. So if you're looking to short, the only reason to stay short and patient is if it's under 1620s. However, take note that 17 is soaking. And where did we just see this? And I talk about this a lot. Where have you seen these things before? Well, if you just go back to just a couple days ago on PCSA, you saw that exact action right here, right? Comes back in here, soak, 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 soak. And then same deal over here at the 380 level right over here. Soak, 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 soak. And then it ends up triggering that high a day basically over here. And then away it went. So same deal over on the CRBP. Comes into that level. And that's exactly why, I was saying PCSA. This is the same thing as PCSA. What can you relate it to? What have you just seen that, you can look at this action, you can look at the price action and be familiar with something that you've just seen and kind of gather an idea of what the potential is. Now, personally, I did not get long, unfortunately. I wasn't as confident with this thing. I was just kind of waiting for this to sort of set up and either blow out or come back in. But, this is the signs knowing not to short, which is half the battle, right? Knowing not to short. And that was enough to save a bunch of money. So very, very clean action later on. You can see all lower highs. You can see the failed follow through setup that we always look for, and you can see sort of the it's starting to put lower high, lower high, lower high, and then finally breaks under this prior level of support. So either way, big opportunities both ways. There's no shortage of action in this market right now, but whatever you do, don't stay wrong. Don't stay wrong right now. There's a lot of action right now, and the only thing that you can do that's going to hurt you is when you're wrong, staying wrong. Just move on. There's a lot of things that are working right now, and focus on those. Get rid of the ones that, it doesn't matter. You probably will end up being right, but just wait for it to set back up again. Don't force it just because you think it should do what you want it to do. All right, guys, so as always, I'm not a financial advisor. These are not buy or sell recommendations, and this is for educational and informational purposes only. So I want to go through a few different names today pretty quick. There's no A-plus type moves. We've been talking about what makes things an A-plus move. We've been talking about sector and theme rotation, and that's when I really want to push with size and confidence. And something like that would be the SAVE trade that we went over, SAVE, the RUM trade, RUM, as well as obviously Mara, Riot, and CLSK. from a couple weeks back. But then most recently, even, the DWACs and the PHUNs and things like that. So CRBP, obviously a main watch. Not super excited though. This is one of those where I do want to come in and have two game plans. And everybody's always like, well, you're going to be right either way. I don't do Sunday scans to be right. I do Sunday scans to get prepared for the week ahead. I do them so that I can come in and I have a plan, right? So when you come to a fork in the road, you don't have to make a guess which way you're going to go. If something gets in your way on this side, you're going to go that way. If something gets in your way on this side, you're going to go that way. You already know your game plan. You already have a thought process where if it opens high and it blows out the rest of the shorts, then I'm going to probably be short biased. If it opens weak, tags SSR, swipes back up, starts to consolidate, I'm probably going to be long biased, right? And by playing out both those scenarios ahead of time allows you to be that much more prepared. And then that way, when it does happen, you can just react to what's happening rather than think about these scenarios, right? Would you rather be seeing the action and think about, well, if it does do this, maybe I could consider... No, you already have your game plans. That's the idea. The idea is not to be right. Now, we've got rum, and this is like a fight against Xfinity because my internet's been dropping in and out. So at some point, I'm probably going to have to restart all this. But rum, higher the better. Nothing too exciting about it, but it does feel like it held on longer than people might have thought. So maybe we get one more good push, ideally a gap, 20, 30 cents, and then starts to sort of fade off from there. RVSN has been, really nice. It's been a great focus name. Been right a lot on it as far as, being hands off on the short side and then the potential for, the squeeze. This is a great one to review. I've been using the word kind of like a compounding liquidity trap lately. This is a great example of that. And we've seen it on SIDU. I would review SIDU and I would review POL, right? And so those are two where they've got that initial move, pulls back, and then that secondary move that compounds the shorts, right? So not only do you have the original shorts, now you've got new shorts. Then it gaps up. They're both screwed. And then they either cover, and then it sends it higher. You've got new shorts, but then once again it held. So then it sets up another liquidity trap. And that's what's been happening. And it's just kind of like, compounding one after another and, becoming a perpetual squeeze. And so really good feedback here in the room on this one. Great example of, the 22 million share day all the way down to the 200,000 share day on the 19th of January. Gap up over the prior resistance, and then the rest is history. Shorts never got let out. And literally every single time it gapped and walked down, people look at that as sell pressure. They look at that as bearish. But what if nobody's selling? And what if the only ones that are selling are shorts, right? That's the information you don't have until it swipes back up. So that's why we always talk about that swipe test. And this is a perfect example of, why that kind of information is crucial if you're going to be trading some thin names. ACON, another one of those thin names, but needs money yesterday. Fantastic squeezer on Friday. 340s was the key level for me. I would be looking for any good pops in the morning versus the 280s, 290 level, potential unwind from there. PCSA, in my eyes, we'll be looking at maybe a gap fill. I think it was just sort of liquidity was just created for one goal, to get that raise off, right? And HC Wainwright kind of special, churn, create a squeeze, we do a raise, and then it ends up falling under that level. So that would be another one I'd be looking for all pops for potential fade. This VSME has history of squeezing. We've got this action over here. They've done a liquidity trap before. They've done it again over here. You can kind of see that it lasts a few days and then squeezes out. And I feel like we're in this situation right here. So you've got the initial day where it cleans up. Next day it consolidates, lower volume. Next day it heads higher. And then you've got that slow kind of squeeze squeeze out. So you've got the same situation here. You can see we've got the same base. The base here is 44, right? So it opened 44.2, low was 43.3. Here, same thing, low was 42.7. So essentially, same thing, held a double bottom, and then heads higher. So what I'd be looking for is now, over the next couple days, the buy-in to start to come, and then maybe fuel it for a few more days, just like you saw over here. Whether or not that catches, it's all about whether or not it has more demand than supply, right? So if supply meets that demand, then we're just going to probably have an 2-3 days. It maybe pushes back up towards the highs and fades off. If the demand is still there from covers and the supply is not, and somebody soaked a bunch of the float, then yes, we could have one of those which starts to compound and become a perpetual squeezer. So that's the thought process on something like that. A couple more, PYXS. This one was a nice long idea. This should look familiar. You see the wicks, dip and rip, dip and rip, dip, and it held it again, and away it went. So this was an idea on Friday in the room, right over here for potential big picture type of breakout move. Really nice move so far. ELEV, I'd be watching. This one still is hanging around. All the volume came and it went and it's still holding, so I'd be watching dips for potential breakout. We could have one of those where it goes 50 cents and then another $1 or something like that. If not, just keep some price alerts and maybe put some price alerts around the 240, 230 level, just so if and when this chart breaks down, you don't forget about it. There's so many times that I get alerts in the room from stuff that I put alerts for 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and then when it hits, it's huge breakdown. But I wouldn't have seen it if I didn't put that that price alert in there. And then I think last but not least, I got Airbnb too. Airbnb potential breakout, nice daily chart there. This one Judah might like. But RTC, this one is another one of those compounding sort of liquidity traps. You've got the first liquidity trap here. You've got another nice little push, rips, sits back, everybody looks left. Okay, yep, easy money, fades off. Oh no, it didn't go away. And then you can see the dips getting absorbed, and then obviously on Friday, there's not much liquidity. So if there's a couple people with 10, 20, 30,000 shares short, times 10, 20, 30 people, there's no exit for them. So in my opinion, we could be going into some circuit halts here. We could end up going, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe retest back up towards these prior highs. And, we'll see what happens. But either way, always be cautious, especially if it's sub $1 million. If you look at the daily, sub million shares rather. Whenever I see volume like this, I always think dollars, right? Something that has hundreds of millions traded, probably not going to be as big of a move. You can trade bigger, thicker, but situations like this always tend to move dollars. So anyway, that's game plan for today. If you have any questions, leave a comment, leave a question, leave whatever you'd like on the comment section. We always check those, and like I said, make sure you check the link because we finally did do a discounted monthly for those that are interested in checking it out. So every single week, seems, we have more and more tools being launched. We are currently working on the filings thing, which is going to be a game changer. And our goal with IU is to focus on the 5 or 10% that you use on all the services that you subscribe to, right? And I know that I subscribe to a ton, and it's just become a thing in the trading world where you need to subscribe to 10, 15, 20 different services, whether that's news and scanners and whatever it may be. But it adds up. And the thing is you only use maybe 1 to 5%, maybe max of 10% of that service, right? So we're trying to take the best of the best and make them better. And so that's the beauty of having, not only a programmer that understands trading, but obviously is a lights out, fantastic programmer himself. So It's been a good run, and feedback has been phenomenal. As always, we thrive off feedback, so make sure you're always dropping ideas in the lounge. I know I read them. I know Max reads them, and we'll keep on making things better. So catch you guys in the room. Have a good rest of the weekend.